Hello, I'm Jessica Keeney. I am an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of California and only in the state of California. I am the attorney for two small Northern California Department of Child Support Services offices. You will hear me refer to the Department of Child Support Services as either the department or DCSS. I have practiced family law my entire legal career, and in law school, I worked for a family law attorney. I am not giving legal advice in this video. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notifications when we upload new content. Purposes only. If you have questions though, put them in the comments. I will not answer legal questions, but I may use those questions as ideas for topics for future videos. So today's video, I am going to discuss the passport denial program. How does the Department of Child Support Services get away with taking people's passports when they owe child support arrears? Spoiler alert, the Department of Child Support Services isn't actually the department that takes the passport, it's the federal government. But the Department of Child Support Services reports people who have over a certain amount of child support arrears to the federal government, and then the federal government denies the passport. This is a very brief overview of the passport denial program. I have a write-up that I'll link in the description below, and I give my sources in there, and it's a more in-depth write-up. That way anyone who stumbled across this wants to do their own research can see how I got the information that I got. And also, laws change, and so it's entirely possible that by the time you're watching this video or the time you read my write-up, things have changed. And so having the sources is a really good way for you to go make sure that the law is still good. Of course, this is not legal advice. Okay, so basically, anytime a person owes child support arrears of $2,500 or more, no, actually owes more than $2,500, so let's say $2,501 across all of their cases in the state, the Department of Child Support Services will report that person to the Office of Child Support Enforcement, also known as OCSE. And they're going to report that person so that they can be submitted to the passport denial program. Now, once the person is submitted, they have to have paid off all of their child support arrears before they can get their passport back, unless one of three circumstances happens. So one would be there's a life or death situation, two would be mistaken identity, three would be erroneous submittal of a non-obligor. So what a life and death situation looks like is the person paying support, or the person who's been submitted for passport denial, has an immediate family member who lives outside of the United States, and that immediate family member has a life-threatening illness, or that immediate family member died. And so immediate family member is a parent or guardian, child, grandparent, I'm guessing a grandchild also, although my list didn't specifically say that, sibling, aunt, uncle, stepchild, step-parent, step-sibling, or spouse. Okay, so that's what's considered immediate family member for this situation. And then the person paying support is required to contact his or her local child support office or local DCSS office and request exclusion from the passport denial program. Now, this person is required to give written proof of the life-threatening situation or the life-threatening illness or the death of the immediate family member. And written proof can be something like a death certificate, a letter from a doctor, a healthcare provider of the immediate family member, or a Red Cross notification. And then the person paying support is also required to give the local child support office a copy of the passport application denial letter, or the location of the passport agency that denied the passport. So basically, this means that the person paying support must be denied a passport before he or she can ask DCSS to exclude them from the passport denial situation. Okay, so that's one way to get your passport back in an emergency. Another way is mistaken identity. Mistaken identity is when the person whose passport was denied, also called the non-obligor, was not actually reported for the passport denial program, but his or her passport was denied anyway. To resolve this situation, the person whose passport was denied must go to his or her local DCSS office and give them a copy of the passport application denial letter, his or her date of birth, his or her social security number, and and his daytime phone number. So the notes I made basically say that I didn't read any policy that said that the person needs to provide written documentation of their birth date or their social security number. But in my opinion, if the person whose passport was denied due to mistaken identity wants this process to go smoothly, then he or she should be prepared to provide written documentation. So it would really help the local child support office if the victim of mistaken identity went in with a copy of his or her birth certificate or driver's license with birth date on it. Both of them would be really good. Copy of their social security card, or probably a copy of a letter from a taxing authority, like the Franchise Tax Board or the IRS, with the person's name on it and their social security number. I mean, I guess a tax return with their name and social security number might help too. Again, I read no DCSS literature that says this is required, but in my own mind, this would help the situation. This would help prove that your identity was mistaken. Okay, and when I say victim here, I don't necessarily mean that the identity was mistaken on purpose or that it was mistaken in order to hurt the victim of the mistaken identity. That's just the aggrieved party who doesn't owe child support, and so victim of mistaken identity seemed like a good title. Okay, so the third situation in which a person can get their passport returned on an emergency basis is erroneous submittal of a non-obligor. So this is another situation where I'll call the person who was denied the passport a victim. This isn't because this was done on purpose to this person or meant to cause this person harm. This is just because this person suffered ill consequences, bad consequences, because of an erroneous submittal. So this isn't the same as a mistaken identity, although it kind of sounds like it is, but erroneous submittal of a non-obligor happens when a person has his or her passport denied because a person paying support is using the same social security number as the non-obligor, who's basically the victim in this situation. And so identity theft comes to mind when I think of this erroneous submittal of the non-obligor. However, it could also be a situation where at some point the social security number was inputted incorrectly and now it's coming up in the non-obligor's life in the form of this erroneous submittal. So to clear up this situation, the non-obligor victim must go to his or her local child support office and give them a copy of the passport application denial letter or the name of the passport or location of the passport agency that denied the passport. And although DCSS policy didn't say this, or at least not the policy I read, the non-obligor victim should be prepared to provide documentation to DCSS that someone is using his or her social security number. Now, this isn't always possible, but if it is, never hurts to take that information in. You can probably hear my son in the background. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to take that information in if you happen to have it. Okay, and so the other way that a person can get their passport back is by paying off all of their arrears. So no arrears are owed in any cases throughout the entire state of California. Then the person paying support can get their passport back or be excluded from the passport denial program. Well, I guess they'd basically be removed from the passport denial program. When the person paying support gets the warning letter from DCSS, about the arrears, they have 90 days to request an administrative review. And once they request it, then the local DCSS that received the request has to process the review. And it's an administrative review, and basically it's to make sure that the certified arrears balance is correct. Then if there are multiple child support cases with arrears, then the DCSS office that received that request for an administrative review needs to reach out to the other counties that are enforcing child support cases and facilitate an administrative review of all of those other cases. And now here's something else to keep in mind. So let's say that the person paying support, his or her passport was denied due to child support cases, child support arrears in California. If they owe child support arrears of more than $2,500 in other states, those other states may have submitted the person for the passport denial program. And so once all of those arrears are paid down, or once an emergency situation arises that necessitates giving the passport back quickly, then the person needs to contact all of the states that may have reported him or her for child support arrears. And so again, I will link the write-up that I do in the description below. This is not legal advice. This is for educational purposes only. I hope you found this helpful. Stay tuned for more.